News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
And I'm Allan Gilbert, the darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian, and I was very torn on which holiday to choose today, but you know what? I'm just going to choose a very happy belated wear a plunger on your head day.
Okay, it's Christmas weekend, and here we go. Wear a plunger.
Joe and I could actually do that.
I was torn between that and the International Dalek Day of Remembrance.
Dalek Day of Remembrance.
Well,
Allan,
but we have very few Doctor Who fans out there.
You don't know that. Hey, Max, Doctor Who spans generations. So,
all right,
okay.
The frightening thing is I am 1 year and 1 month older than Doctor Who.
Why can't you do both? Why can't you don't those Daleks have? Why don't you wear a plunger on the front of your face?
Well, they have the plunger sticking out of the Dalek.
And if you don't know what a Dalek is, go Google it because it's one of those niche. It's a niche thing. So
it's a cultural nerd icon.
Villain. Yeah, it's a niche villain.
I think we should all celebrate. Go get some plungers, Max, during the break, and we should all celebrate during this. So that's a good one.
Okay, so where in the heck is this holiday? Where did it come from? What's the deal?
Who knows?
Who knows? All right, awesome.
Why aren't we out there inventing holidays? So okay, very good, Max. So National Wear a Plunger on Your Head Day. So out there, we've got a call to we got a lot.
Send
of
in your pictures of you wearing a plunger on your head.
Yes.
And ideally not after you just used it.
Yeah, keep sterile, please. Sterilize plungers. If you've got good pictures of you wearing a plunger on your head. Well, yeah, I would think.
All right, how can you phrase that as a good picture?
Yeah, anyway, send that. You can text those pictures to the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. And we all know Jay Hill's going to be celebrating this this holiday with enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
tell.
got his name written all over it, especially the.
The
Anyway,
dialect thing. We'll have to spell that for him.
Yeah.
So.
And if we can get a hold of some plungers before the end of the show, you can watch what we're doing with them on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's studio cams over at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page. You can watch the show there, or you can watch the show at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And then while you're on social media, scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the post we're going to make shortly. I didn't make any yet, but I'm going to do that during the break, Allan. Among other things, we're going to do our must-have item of the week, which you brought in. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind, folks. It'll have an Allan-themed must-have item of the week. We've got some interesting things. Okay, we're days away from Christmas, and we'd like to hear that. Maybe this is another call to action. If you've been out there and maybe you're going to buy some tools or something home improvement related for your significant other or for somebody in your family, let us know what that is. We won't tell anybody.
No, absolutely not.
We'd like to know. But Allan, you've been out shopping with quite a few people, so you're kind of in tune with what the hot tool Christmas gifts are this year.
There have been quite a few, yes.
Okay, so we're going to weigh in on some of that. We've got Allan's Week in Review, Animal Furniture, and Secret Storage. Mm-hmm. The secret storage is interesting, Allan, because I had a secret storage situation come up with that. So also, let's see. Our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling is going to be in the house shortly. And he's revved up. Well, Jay always brings a lot of energy to the table with anything he does. And we're going to, so if you've got any roofing or questions about remodeling or the exterior protection of your home, this is the time to call in for sure. Jay's going to be all over that. So he's going to be dropping in here in the next segment. But I also want to give a quick shout out, Allan, if you don't mind, to Monica. I was out last week because I was getting a minor surgery done. And, say what you will about the state of our modern world. The one thing I'm very grateful I didn't live like 500 years ago or something. The state of modern medicine is pretty impressive. So, but anyway, Monica, one of the nurses over there, said she listens to Tool Talk.
Oh, well, awesome.
Her and her husband said they're in the middle of remodeling their bathroom.
My condolences.
So, Monica, thanks for all the help you gave me, and also good luck with the remodeling project.
Yeah,
and
send us some
everything.
pictures, ask some questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So
Joe owes you at this point.
yeah, they took great care of me, and I'm back in action this week. I wasn't in a position to come in last week, Alan, because if I started laughing, there would have been painful stitches or that could have popped loose. Or
Yeah,
something.
we weren't going to do that.
Anyway, but I don't know. Why don't we bring Jay in now? What do you say,
Well, he's sitting over there.
Jay?
Howdy.
Let's get you on a little early, my friend. So Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling is in the house. So and on camera, remember that, sir. Jay always shaves and everything when he comes. You always look good when you come in, man.
Well, I didn't until y'all put the camera in.
Okay. Well, Jay, we've got some questions for you today, and we're going to.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just forgot. I just realized I didn't tease one other thing. So, Jay, this is something you'll appreciate. In our great moments in building history, that's what I forgot to tease.
Oh, okay.
So, Jay, for our great moments in building history, we're going to talk about the Apollo project. Specifically, we're going to kind of look at Apollo 8, but we're going to look at mostly, this was one Max brought to us. He was intrigued with all of the technology that we still use today. You even incorporate some technology from the space programs in your day-to-day work and everything. And you and Allan have memories of the launchings, right? I mean, so
I do. I remember being in the second grade, 68. That's when they landed on the moon. That's the one I remember.
69 is when they made it to the moon. Yeah.
That's the one I remember.
But
Well,
68
trust me, you got all the previews, all of 68 into 69. So it's about a 2-year blur of going to the moon.
Right. So we've got that. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I forgot to properly set the table. So, hey, Jay, so we want to talk a little roofing, man. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
What have you been up to these last few weeks? I always get like to get an update of kind of, I know you were on some pretty big projects, right?
Yeah. I actually just got finished with a big commercial job downtown, which was, the biggest commercial job we've tackled so far. And they're interesting, those old buildings down there. Mm-hmm. And it
was an older building.
Yeah, it was 7 North
Joe
Main.
and I both go,
wait, so this was a flat roof?
Oh, yeah. And,
that does not sound fun to me, man.
Well, I tell you, it would have been a lot better had we really understood. And every one of these is a little bit of a learning curve. As hard as it is to believe, you still learn something just about every time you do a job. And boy, this one was full of surprises, and we got through them. So it's not how many problems you have; it's how many you solve, right?
That is very true. The one thing with the big commercial buildings down there, you really just don't have any idea the can of worms you're getting into.
No.
Because it's not like one company did all of them. Somebody
That's what I'm wondering.
individually
You don't know who
did
came in front of you.
every one of these down there is completely different.
And they have multiple roofs. They're all, very rarely do you see one that's had a complete tear off down there in these real old buildings on Main.
Oh yeah, there's 3, 4, 5 layers up there.
And I'd love to talk about what happened, and that was really crazy when we get an opportunity. So
yeah, I want to talk about that because that's sort of interesting, Jay. Because I'm used to working with you over on these residential projects and all that, but an old flat roof downtown. I mean, that's now. Right away.
I got a good story for Jay when we come back.
Yeah, right away. I'm just thinking you got to get your materials there. You don't know what they did in front of you.
Well, you've got the logistics of just getting to the work site on occasion.
Yeah,
that can also be an adventure.
Absolutely, all your materials have to be lifted up on the roof. I mean, there's a lot to do.
Oh yeah. And I like what you said, Jay, because it's funny. It ties in perfectly with our Apollo discussion. You're always learning. Nobody's a perfect authority. You're always, and if you're not willing to learn, then I think there's something wrong with you. You gotta,
you'll learn whether you want to or not.
All right, so that sounds good, Jay. So we're going to be talking about all that today. So, like we said, if you've got any roofing or remodeling questions, or anything to do with the exterior protection of your home, this is a great day to call and talk to Jay. You can call the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. All right, well, this is it. It's good to be back, Allan. I'm glad. I'm
good
happy
to see
be
you.
here.
Glad you're doing well.
And we're going to get back to it when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
This is what the holidays are all about. 3 buddies sitting around chewing gum, huh?
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
I mean, that's how I'm spending Christmas Eve. What about you, Al?
I have myself scheduled for at least the least stimulating possible holiday ever.
Okay.
So I'm trying.
All
it
right.
won't happen, but I'm trying.
Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, our pal Max over there behind the glass.
Do you think Kramer would be a devout adherent to wear a plunger on your head day?
Oh, I mean, no question about it. He'd probably have multiple plungers on his head. So, and spoiler, there we go. Max just let it slip. Among other things, today it is the holiday weekend, but among those holidays is National Stick a Plunger on Your Head Day. So if you've got if you're celebrating in any unique ways, and if you're participating, send us some pictures. You can get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Of course, if you've got home improvement questions, most especially with roofing or the exterior protection of your home, it's a great day to call because Jay Hill's in the house.
And I'm waiting for Agent 732 to drop the gauntlet and text a picture of his best Dalek. For International Dalek Day of Remembrance.
That's true. Why are they? Okay, never mind. Let's not get sidetracked. Jay doesn't know it. When you start talking about Doctor Who and Batman or whatever, that's not your wheelhouse, Jay. I hate to say it. So we don't want to leave you out of the conversation. But
although I enjoyed it when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I used to love when Batman came on.
Yeah, okay, whatever. So you're so far behind the times, my friend. But anyway, okay. And if you want to watch the show, if you want to see me and Jay butt heads about Batman or Doctor Who, we're on camera right now. You can check the show out at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page or the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And also, we invite you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the post check out the post I'm going to make during the break, Allan. But join the Tool Talk Radio community over there. Well, Jay, you were talking. I'm very intrigued by this, because you had said something I think that's very cool. You said, "Hey, you're always evolving and learning as a contractor. There's no two jobs are really ever the same." But you were on a doozy. You were on a job downtown, and if you're not from, because we have listeners outside of Memphis, downtown Memphis. When you start getting into some of the historic buildings and things, that's a whole can of worms. There's all sorts of issues to deal with. Plus, just getting to the property, getting your materials there. But this one sounds like it was a challenge, man.
It was, and the getting the materials to the roof and that type of thing. That's just a slow and tedious process. But what you run into a lot down there is what we call built-up roofs. Very rarely did anybody tear off an old roof. They just kept adding to the layers. But, of course, back then, you had that real rough sawn lumber, for rafters and joists and stuff. And, it could just withstand, just so much more than today's could. Basically, if people are they're cutting corners when it comes to things like that. Things were built to last. We talk about that all the time in the show, and they certainly were back then in terms of structural and framing and things such as that. So, they just kept adding layers of roof. And one of the technologies that came out in the late 50s and 60s was what they call a built-up roof, which is basically this blown, very soft concrete. And they blow it 4 or 5 inches across the top, and it would harden just enough to where you could, put a coating on top of that and call it, a new roof, if you will. But it's
concrete. I didn't know there was concrete up there.
Yeah, you think it's concrete, and this was the challenge.
It's foamy. The best way that I can describe it is it's kind of semi-rigid oatmeal, because it has that kind of powdery effect to it.
Yeah.
Well, Jay's kind of grimacing over there going, yes, it breaks down.
I'm going to tell you it's tricky stuff because the way they did it, so imagine this,
And Jay, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
When you're demolishing it, is your job to not destroy that concrete? Do you got to keep that?
Well, no, that's one way to actually skin the cat. It is to take that and all those layers off. But that was going to add another, $300,000, $400,000 to this project.
Wow, because that's what I was wondering. It's like a delicate balance.
Yeah, it was blown concrete with hot tar on top of it. Processes that you don't even do anymore. Insurers don't want to insure it. It just costs a lot of money to do that. So,
wow.
But the challenge literally was this. So the last layer was this blown concrete or built-up roof, as they call it. So imagine this 100 by 80 basically surface, if you will, a flat roof. But when they blow it, they blow it toward the center. So anything within 3 feet of the parapet walls and interior walls actually was concrete, okay? But it kind of transitioned into this built-up blown-in roof. So when we originally looked at it, we did a core test on the side, which was clearly concrete. So we knew how we were going to adhere this new roof. It was going to be with 5, 6, 8-inch anchors, okay? And so we got up there, we got everything ready to go, only to discover that as you got into the middle, literally the anchors were going straight through.
Oh gosh!
So that was,
got softer. Yeah.
oh my! Which was a huge problem because this place really sorely needed a roof. At the end of the day, what we've learned and a lot of people have used over time are these 4-inch augers, which are basically just very strong auger bolts, but they're high density plastic, and they will fit and they will work, but they're not going to be enough to hold this whole TPO roof down over time. You're going to have something in some type of joist somewhere. So here's what we did. We literally started from the side. We figured out how far each joist would probably run. We found those joists. We drilled and hit every one of those once we established those lines.
Wow.
It took forever to do it. Went through 250 drill bits alone. Because we not only had to go through all those old roofs, we had to find that metal.
Right.
And once you hit that metal, of course, that's what starts eating your drill bit up. But between using that being anchored on the joist all the way across and using the soft augers, because see those fasteners are set every 12 inches in a square, like a 12 by 12 tile on one of these roofs. So we had a combination of both of those and actually ran the TPO all the way up the parapet walls and put cupping caps on the top of it. It turned out splendidly. Should have taken us a week, ended up taking 2 weeks, but we did it. We did it right, and we couldn't be prouder of the crew and the job that we did. I know our customer felt the same way. But, man, what a challenge.
Wow. That's interesting because, you don't just slap a roof on any. I mean, you got to have the structure underneath has to be sound or it's not gonna work. So.
Well, exactly, and you don't know how that building was constructed because I had one over in Arkansas several years back, and there was a persistent leak in the dead center of the building. There was always a drip. Rain, sun, wind, didn't matter. There was always a drip. So we get the ladders and we go up there. And when we get up there, it was a BBC documentary on the life of a pond. Because when we got to the top, it had a parapet all the way around it, a complete solid parapet. And there was duckweed even with the top of the parapet. And it looked like a beaver dam out in the dead center of the roof.
So it's just sitting there holding water, huh?
So I step over the edge of this down in. I figure it's going to be a couple of inches, right? This is
Caught
like
two bass and a crappie.
Oh, this is like 18 inches of water. And so I wade out to the dam in the center of it, and it's pine needles. And what's happened is they have sucked into the drain.
Yeah.
So I start, getting soaking wet, pushing and shoving, and suddenly I hear this, whoosh.
Like a toilet.
And no, it was more like I was on the other end of the fire hose.
Oh.
And water was honestly spraying out the exit on the side of the building, like 10 feet out from the building.
Wow.
There was so much water up here. And that goes to the old-timey construction where they had just basically trimmed up tree logs and, made the roof out of it because it was holding up tons of water. And of course, once we got all that off, then it was time for okay, now it's time to replace the roof because this is toast and it's just ready to give completely.
Oh, yeah. I hate pine needles. They have sap,
needles,
they stick.
man.
Hey Jay, we haven't given out your information. How do people get in touch with Big M Roofing and Remodeling if they want to partake of your expertise? So
you can certainly always call at 901-484-5645. Of course, go to our website, bigmroofingandremodeling.com. Got a great website that literally tells everything that you'd want to know about us. If you're entertaining, hiring us for a job. Got all our credentials. Got a great gallery. What we do and what we do best.
Is my roof up there? Well, I don't know. I hope. Okay, because you got pictures
our
of a lot
roofs
of
are
roofs.
up
Oh
there.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a bunch of pictures.
All right. Well, we're going to continue this conversation. We've got more questions for Jay, and we've got call to action for you too. So we're coming back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
One of these days, you're going to get yourself killed, you know that, and I won't be...
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Okay, thanks, Mac. Yeah, that sounds like job sites I've been on. I don't know. What about you, Allan? And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. He's in the house, and it's a perfect day to get on the to call or text us with your roofing or remodeling or exterior protection of the home is really your wheelhouse, Jay.
Yeah.
So if they want to get in touch with us, they can call or text on the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989.
Which Agent 732 already has.
Okay, we'll get to him in a second. So
He disappointed me, though. He didn't text me a picture of the Dalek.
Okay. All right. 1 second, Max. Let me finish setting the table here. So you can also watch the show on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page. The cameras are on there. You can also watch the show on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And if you scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio's Facebook page, I finally made the post of our must-have item of the week. So, but also it's just good to like the page and share the page. And there's lots of posts up there. I mean, scroll through. You're going to find a lot of really interesting things. I dare say we've got some pretty elevated and interesting content on our. We don't get into all the garbage that you see on social media, right, Allan? We're here to elevate and inspire and entertain.
Well, the biggest thing is, of course, they can always pop over to tooltalkradio.com and they can follow along with, honestly, years of bingeable content. And we are a YouTube podcast, so feel free to take us with you anywhere you want to go. Anywhere in the world.
Now, Jay, speaking of that, Allan always checks all the stats and everything on because we have YouTube, Spotify, we're on a lot of those. So, but apparently there's people in other countries that listen, and Jay, you're international, man. So,
Well, that's good news.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good
So if
news.
you get a call from New Zealand about a roof, that's our fault.
So what is your service diameter? How far will you travel to help people with their roofing situation? I mean, are you ready to go to
France, that's as far as we'll go that
Okay.
way, yeah.
Okay,
Fiji
so-
Islands, that's where we stop.
Okay, so yeah, get in touch with us, like we said, at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline, 901-683-0989. And you say, what did Agent 732 have to say, Max?
He disappointed me. I don't care about booze, but he gave us a booze recipe for in the spirit of the holidays. Here's a quick recipe for some really good punch.
Okay.
Some Xmas punch. I'm going to add Thai booze of your choice once it's mixed. 1 part Hawaiian punch, 1 part Sprite or Mountain Dew, several scoops of rainbow sherbet placed in a big bowl with cranberry juice ice cubes and round orange slices.
Okay. I'm trying to
It's party time. Yeah.
Does that sound good to you?
It is actually quite delicious.
I texted him a picture of Chris Traeger that said, I believe an ounce of that would literally kill me.
Yeah. Max isn't a drinker, and he can't. Would you drink that?
Well, you can make it with or without.
It's a lot of
alcohol.
sugar.
It's
I try to stay
it's
away
sweet.
from the sugar.
Yeah, it's sweet.
All right, Agent 732. We were hoping what we're really looking for, the big call to action we have out there is that today is this international or national wear a plunger on your head day?
It just wear a plunger on your head day.
Okay, well, this is what we want. I mean, there's surely somebody out there is celebrating this in the spirit that it's, So if you've got pictures of you wearing a plunger on your head, or if you've got good ideas for...
I'm sure there's a video somewhere on YouTube. So.
Okay. All right, so that's what we want. But anyway. All right, so... And also, home improvement questions would be nice as well.
Yeah,
so,
that,
or
that
comments.
tool talk thing. Yeah.
But also, one thing that we've got out there that we'd like to hear about, and actually maybe we'll shift gears to this in a minute, is are you out there among your gifts that you're giving this year, are you giving anybody tools? Are you giving anybody home improvement? Maybe you say, hey, I'm gonna for my gift, I'm gonna get your living room painted, or I'm gonna do your whatever. So, if you've got something out there like that, we'd love to know what tools you thought were the right gift for somebody.
I know someone who's getting some tools.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Is that something you can talk about on the air?
No.
Okay. Okay. We'll get to that shortly because Allan's been out shopping with people.
Yes, I have.
That. But Jay, we're talking about roofs at the moment. So, and I wanted to ask you, while we got you in the house, you are a GAF Master Elite installer.
We are.
Okay, GAF. We talk about. I don't remember what GAF actually stands for. It's an acronym, but GAF is at the cutting edge of roofing technology, and I was kind of curious about how. Well, a couple things like how is roofing technology? We talk about technology. It doesn't look like technology, but it really is. But what are some of the ways it's kind of evolved since you've gotten into the game? Because
well, at the end of the day, I guess the biggest, and there's been a bunch, but in terms of the shingle itself, our old technology for steep slope roofing was what we knew as the 3-tab shingle. Right. Which was it worked for a long time, but everything like anti-lock brakes in cars and airbags and things change. And the fault of the 3-tab shingle ultimately was the 3 tabs or the 2 tabs that were on a 3-tab shingle. It's basically a 35-inch shingle that for just rounding up purposes had 3 tabs to it.
Yeah.
And the perforation came up the tab about 4 inches. And so wind over time would basically penetrate underneath that tab and release that adhesive that was there and blow those tabs off. In other words, by design, that shingle had a way to become faulty over really not a very long period of time, and it would blow those tabs off. So the new architectural shingle, which is, again, made to mimic the old wood shake roof, is basically a one big mat, if you will, with no perforations, and then the what we call the teeth of the shakes are actually laminated.
Right.
You'll hear some people refer to them as laminated shingles too, or laminates.
It's almost double the thickness of a 3-tab shingle.
It is.
Right?
It's about 35% heavier than the old shingle, but it just doesn't have that area for like a 3-tab shingle does to tear up. And the wind rating is just mind-blowing. A traditional 3-tab shingle's just got a 75, 80 mile an hour wind rating, where with GAF, for instance, if you install it with the right components, can have literally an unlimited wind rating. So they're hard to tear up. So that would be the biggest thing.
Yeah, and then, now we always talk about the ridge vents, and I'm trying to remember when these sort of showed up. Has this been about 15 or 20 years?
20, 25, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who came up with that?
I'm not sure who actually came up with them. That's a great question. But boy, they sure have been a game changer. They and we've talked about this before, but it's been quite some time ago. There's a lot of reasons that shingles wear out prematurely. And one of the biggest reasons they discovered was because back in the day, they really just didn't allow enough ventilation in attic areas, for homes. You had gable vents, and that was pretty much it. Then the old whirlybirds came around, which they basically cut that hole in the top of your roof, and that's that old galvanized, stoved-up turbine that you see on a lot of older homes that literally don't work anymore. And the wind had to be blowing for that to kind of dissipate some air. One ridge vent, depending on a whirlybird would dissipate maybe 300 square foot of hot air out of a roof. But the wind had to be blowing, and over time, although they were better than nothing, they became, it was pretty noticeable that they were ineffective. So what the ridge vents basically did was this. They said, what we'll do is if you've got soffit vents, which is, on all the soffits of the home, where air can come through, you'd cut 1.5 inches off of each side of any ridges that you had, and then install these ridge vent apparatuses and put your ridge cap shingles over the top of it. So then you've got this cross draft or cross flow where the air is coming through the soffits, and then the hot air is exiting out the top of the ridges. And
it's moving air, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, so, it's proven 25 to 30 degrees of hot air can be handled at any given time in the hottest part of summer. But here was the key to all that. The key is now that it's not so hot in the attic that the shingles are baking from the inside as well as the outside. So they're adding another 25% of shingle life right there just because of ridge vents alone. Notwithstanding the fact that now that the air's got a place to go out of your home, it's not trying to back down into your living areas and running that air conditioner just a little bit harder.
I was going to say, because Jay, I mean, it's been 2 or 3 years since since you replaced our roof, and I've told you consistently every month, especially in the summer, the utility bill is just noticeably cheaper. I mean, it was immediate for us. We noticed it right away, and that's a great feeling. I mean, so you're literally saving money every month just with your utilities. So.
Yeah, and this is one of those things on that subject because we hear a lot of people trying to sell things in our society today. And some of it's just ludicrous at the end of the day. But this really does pay for itself. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, folks, that if that air doesn't have a place to go, it's coming back in your home, and you're literally running your compressor a lot more than you have to. And I get call after call from people telling me this is amazing. So not only are you, making your shingle life extended, as we talked about, but, man, you're actually saving, 10, 15% every month on a utility bill.
I'm all about that, man. That's and that, I mean, so it's having ramifications all over the home, not just
well, and this is a relatively new thing. The ridge vents were actually invented back in 1987.
Yeah, so they're not that old.
A guy by the name of Ben Obadike.
Oh, you did some Googling, huh?
Yeah. Well, I knew they'd been around since around 90.
Oh, yeah.
I knew they'd been around since about 90. But I mean, this wasn't like a 50s invention that finally caught on. I mean, this was a guy sitting around going, all right, whatever it is we're doing ain't working.
Right.
And there was a lot of thought and a lot of effort, and a solution was found. And, this is, 1987 in our business is pretty much brand new.
Yeah, that's not that old. So.
It is just not that old a technology.
I wonder, Jay, too, because now that I'm thinking of it, and folks, if you're not familiar with what a ridge cap is that we're talking about, you'll probably notice if you look at if you're looking at a little, Cape Cod style house these days, up on the roof, there's like a little hump, you could say, and what's going on with that hump is there's vents underneath, and they cut the little bit of the top of the roof to let it breathe, basically, and yeah. I wonder if back in the day, Jay, that maybe I wonder if at the very beginning of ridge caps, if it was a little bit of a hard sell to convince people that hey, we're going to cut a gash into your roof, but I think once people understood it's not going to leak. Yeah. It's very well protected.
86 would have been before I was in the business, but it may have been.
Yeah. Well, this was actually about humidity. Because these were from the south moving their way up.
Right.
And the problem was a lot of times the attic would trap very humid air also and keep that moisture on your house.
Yeah, not
and
good.
And the ridge vent allowed that air to move more easily and keeping the inside of the house drier.
Hey, Jay, before we go to break, how do people get in touch? Because this is good stuff, man. They may need to consult with you about this.
Well, I hope so. We're looking forward to talking to anybody about any home improvements or projects they may have. I'm at 901-484-5645 and at bigmroofingandremodeling.com.
And this is Jay's direct number, so I always suggest call him at times of, inappropriate time. Call him during the big game, on that type of thing. He
called Joe during a Batman episode.
There you go.
Get the same reaction.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Now, this is the forklift. You need a license to operate this machine. That means the upstairs office workers can't drive it. Quiz, Mike, should you drive the forklift?
I can and I have.
No.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Yeah, don't ask for permission, just ask for forgiveness, right?
That's right.
That's the way we thrive around here.
Oh my gosh.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. So if you have any roofing or remodeling questions, it's a perfect day to get in touch with us. You can contact us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline, 901-683-0989. You can call or text us, especially text us pictures if you are participating in today's one of today's lesser-known holidays, which is International Wear a Plunger on Your Head Day. which Max brought to our attention.
Yeah.
I don't know where he finds this stuff. I don't know where he digs this stuff up, but it's also International Dalek Appreciation Day. And if you don't know what a Dalek is, just go Google Doctor Who, and you'll see some pretty interesting robots. Not the highest tech robots that I've ever seen, Alan, but kind of like a rolling, I don't even know what.
Well, it was actually a dustbin flipped over.
Yeah.
The original one.
The original Doctor Who.
Back in the 60s was,
They used whatever they found in the warehouse and made
And am
it a
I
robot.
correct in remembering that the Dalek isn't actually just a robot? There's a little person inside of a robot, like a little alien.
It's a little squid-looking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Daleks are pretty evil, Jay.
They're
He's just
and the one of the big just one of the controversies about it was how dangerous could they be? They just roll around. You go up one flight of stairs and they'll never catch you.
Yeah.
So they addressed that in an episode by making them fly. So
there you go.
there you go.
So if you want to watch the show and see Jay Hill's look of incredulity and disgust about talking about Daleks, you can go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page and watch the show there, or go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page and see what's going on over there. And also, we invite you while you're on social media to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there. Scroll through. It's fun. We've got some pretty fun content that we've put up there over the years. And so check it all out and join the Tool Talk Radio community.
Yeah. And I tell you, guys, I want to take this opportunity before it slips my mind.
Okay.
Just to really not only thank you guys, of course, but to thank everyone who has called in or got our contact information from this show. I was doing a little research last week because you kind of always want to see where where your business is coming from, and I've always had a pretty good habit of asking people when they call, how did they hear about me? And we did 22 that I can put my finger on projects that were just from referral from this show, if you will. So I want to thank everybody. I want everybody to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and would love to help you with any projects that you may have coming in the near future. Just give me a call.
Well, Jay, we appreciate that, man. It's always cool to hear, too. I don't know about you. Do you meet listeners very often? Like I said, I was in the hospital a week ago, and I met one of our listeners. It's always kind of a cool experience.
Yeah, and again, when you have the habit of asking everyone how they heard about you, I mean, bam, it just leads right into it. And some of the time it's because they know y'all. Sometimes I listen to the show. Just got a call from a guy who's been looking for somebody to do a real specialty type outdoor project on a flat roof downtown. Listens to the show.
There you go,
I'm
man.
sure he's listening today. So,
well, Jay, we appreciate you, man, and I like to tease you and give you grief about your lack of knowledge of superheroes and science fiction. But
it's
you're
okay,
a good
though. I
dude,
can live with that.
We appreciate having you on board. So there you go, folks. Yeah, a business testimonial there. So, all right, Max. Hey, I've got a tool tale.
And now,
Oh, I did it again.
Tool Tales with Tool Talk Radio.
One day I'm going to not be so redundant. I'm just going to
We're
point
going to
to
have to
Max
retrain
and go.
you one of these
Yeah.
days. I know.
Jay, I selected this tool tale. I'm calling it a tool tale for lack of a better term, but it was an experience I had, and I wanted to share it with everybody because this is a product you deal with, and it is Hardy Board. And folks, if you don't know what Hardy Board is, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to home siding. The 70s and all that with the particle board was notorious for, it's like putting cardboard on the side of your home. It rots, it breaks. It's, how much of that have you probably ripped off, from homes in your career, Jay? I mean, it doesn't hold up. It was a bad idea.
Yeah, and we're basically going through a phase right now where literally, I can tell you probably 25% of our business in the last 5 years has been replacing old masonite with Hardy Planker, Louisiana Pacific. It's just amazing. It's gone. There's a lot of places in town you just kind of look at it and go, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to believe that. I mean, I've seen places where you think, well, water's got to be in that house. It's just got to be in that house.
Right.
a lot of this old stuff in new construction didn't even have house wrap around it. I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more just straight on there.
Yeah, and you underneath there is, well, the inside of the
Hey,
house.
we've come
Yeah.
straight through. Yeah, we're hitting the dadgum drywall.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jay. So what I'm doing is, I think if you've been listening for the last at least several months or at least few months, you know that I'm building a laundry room for a home. It's a brand new construction, which is always nice. I always like when you have a blank slate. You can build it to your specifications and everything. So Jay, man, I am caulking every gap. I'm sealing. This thing is going to be airtight, but I wrapped it with the water resistant lining. I put the 1/2-inch foam insulation, and now it's the Hardy board that we're putting on. And I want to mention it because you can pick up Hardy board at any big box store, but
yes.
there's actually, you almost have to be certified. I know commercially you got to be it's not something you just slap up, and you don't just let Chuck in his truck throw this stuff up because it can be very brittle. Like you need,
Oh, it's incredible.
I always
the longer pieces, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I always pre-drill the holes. I like to be, and I always make sure it sinks into a stud, not just the siding and everything. But
Right.
Jay, this is what I wanted to bring to the table, and also Allan, since you know all about chemistry, I wanted to get your take on this. But I'm always, with this stuff, folks. Just if you're working with Hardy board, do not play games with it. This stuff, the dust is, I mean, it can irritate your lungs to a degree. I almost think it's almost to a dangerous degree. But I was working with it. I was just making some cuts, and when I started doing it, I was just using I have a little mini circular saw, like a
Right.
battery powered thing,
Right.
and I was just making my cuts, and I had a mask on, but the wind was doing almost like that tornado swirling effect. I had about 3 times where I got a face full of this stuff, even with a mask on. And I went home that night, and my chest, it felt like somebody was standing on my chest. I could feel something in my lungs. It was having trouble breathing. I had the shakes. It was not fun, Allan. And
No.
I just want to make sure people don't play games with the dust. But you told me something interesting. What's going on in your lungs when you've got that Hardy board dust in there? So
Well, here's your big PSA. Always wear proper eye protection, ear protection, and for heaven's sake, good mask,
Right.
good ventilators. If you're just generally tearing out carpet, your regular plain mask is fine. But for what you were doing, you really need to step up to a ventilator or like an N95. If you're going to create a lot of aerosoled dust, because gypsum of any, good Lord, as Jay's talking about tearing out this masonite, dust is everywhere. And with Hardy board, these microparticles are soluble, aka they were wet originally, and that is how you made the product.
right.
So that when you aerosol these little microscopic parts of it, it's trying to become that product again inside
Yeah, it's like
your
drinking
nice,
a cup
wet
of concrete.
lungs.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
exactly
Ready mix.
You like you said, it's like, I mean, your lungs are wet and spongy and
Yes.
everything, and you're basically
And
putting
you're putting the
sponge-
dust back in your lungs.
Yeah.
So
Which are wet.
good lung protection kicks in here big time.
So what I've been doing, I shifted gears, Jay. What I'm doing now is I just score the edge with a razor knife about 4 times, snap it, and then just hand sand it, and it's cut way down on the dust.
Well, yeah,
so.
you're not aerosoling it
No,
like you
I'm-
are with a piece of power equipment.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more when we come back. But man, hour 1 is in the can. I don't know where it went. But hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio is coming back.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And, of course, in the house, our special guest, Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. So if you have any roofing or remodeling questions, especially anything to do with the exterior protection of your home, it's a good day to get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline. You can call or text us there at 901-683-0989. And just to recap, a couple of topics out on the table are we want to know if you bought any tools or home improvement gifts for somebody in the family. Let us know what those are. We won't tell anybody. We'd like to know what the hot item is. Shortly, we're going to talk about that anyway, because, Allan, you've been out shopping with quite a few people.
I have.
So you've seen the trends. You've seen what's, I think I can kind of guess what sort of.
Technically, he went out shopping with me a while back.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. I heard about I hope he didn't charge you, Max. I
I bet he did.
Okay. But get in touch with us about that. And also let us know how you're celebrating International Wear a Plunger on Your Head Day. I'm really disappointed we haven't received any pictures yet, Max. Maybe we'll get them during
Because
the
it's
week.
not that big a deal, guys.
Hey.
I'm going to take a hunch.
Jay, you know you're celebrating later. I mean, this has got your name written
I got
all
too
over
much
it.
hair.
I think Festivus kind of out trumps some of all of these.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Also, we invite you to watch the show. Hey, if you're curious what Jay Hill looks like, you've heard us talk about him all these years. You can see what he looks like. He's on camera at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page and the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And also on that page, if you go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, you can see our must-have item of the week that Allan brought in, and we're going to show you what that is right now. So, Allan, for once, you're holding this up to the camera. So,
Ta-da!
so if you're watching us on the Facebook or the X page, Allan, what are you holding up there, man?
I am holding up a drill holster.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
know-
holster through a 357.
Well, actually, it's designed for a battery-powered drill. And let me tell you,
Equally deadly.
When you are working on a ladder or a scaffold,
Yeah.
there is nothing worse than having to pick up and put down tools.
Oh yeah.
It just makes me crazy. I started wearing the drill holsters probably 20 years ago.
Oh, we know how much you love the holsters.
And
so,
these things make it just so much easier. Just drop it back in the holster, do what you got to do. When you need it, it's right there. You don't have to reach for it. Somebody doesn't have to hand it to you. So, I treated myself this year to a brand new holster, unused as of yet. That'll change on Tuesday.
Yes.
There will be a lot of drywalling and stuff
I'm going
done
to
with
tell
that.
you, Allan, that's a good one right there. And I'm going to tell you, the roofing industry pretty much has their own as well,
Yeah.
which handles a little bit more than that. But if there's any place you don't want to have to run up and back and down, it's on the top of a roof.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, use a lot of air wrenches, obviously, up there, and those are connected. You've got to holster those things up. And a place to keep your coil nails. Those are the two
Yeah,
big things.
yeah.
And some silicone.
Absolutely.
And especially when you're talking about ladders or roofs or any of that, you got to have them. It's funny. You might be tempted to go to the big box store and say, I just want the biggest tool belt possible. Or you need, it needs to fit. You need to be able to maneuver. You don't want it too small, but these little holsters are nice because you just slip it on the belt. It's like sort of an added attachment, right,
It
Allan?
really,
It's
you
like,
have to kind of admit what you're doing and what you want to carry with you.
Yeah, not all tool belts are created
Oh,
equal.
they are not.
So, all
They
right,
are
that's a
not.
good one. That looks like a right-handed holster to me because it looks like you
it
could have
goes-
it go on the right or left.
You
but-
know what? Depends on how you want to draw the tool.
Okay, sounds good.
And I just wanted to let you know, whenever we get to it, that we actually got a new texter in that actually texted in a valuable picture of, what tools they got for Christmas or
Well,
whatever.
Let's do it.
Yes.
What do you got, Max?
We
So
got
who-
Angel on the line,
Okay.
and Angel talked about their interlocking tool storage boxes, which just look like giant Legos.
Wait.
Lego blocks.
Oh, yeah.
Interlocking. Yeah. So they stack. They're
Oh,
modular.
yeah.
And they have like a little thing, like like when you're going through an airport and you got your a suitcase and everything that just like rolls on the ground and everything. But they also have a 5-time magnification and a 500 lumen LED light output as well.
How big is this thing, man? So
No.
this is-
It's a separate
Oh.
tool that came with that. They got along with it.
Okay. All right, Angel, that sounds good. So it's basically I've seen these. I mean,
Yes.
when you go to the big box store these days, you see all sorts of different, they could range from something for, $50 up to hundreds of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
So,
these
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
500 lumens, though, however, is lightweight compared to a flashlight that I have that shines at 2300 lumens.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
we're going to, spoilers.
We're just
gonna,
trying to show you the label, not blind you.
All right, Angel, we appreciate. That's what we're looking for. We want to know what sort of tools
Yeah.
you've picked up, and especially if you're giving the gift of a tool, we'd love to know, what you bought, or also maybe next week we'd like to know how it went over. Like if you
yeah.
bought somebody a tool set.
Did
So-
you have to return it?
Right. All right, well, let's shift gears. Here's what we've been waiting for.
Oh, the humanity.
If you're new to Tool Talk Radio and you're deaf now because of that stuff Max blasted through the radio, this is the part of the show where we like to find out what Allan did this week, because Allan, your weeks are never the same.
No.
And you were talking about something along animal furniture, which
Yes.
and secret storage. That one resonated with me because I was dealing with that. But go ahead.
All right, well, let's start out with, okay, a lot of you out there, y'all love your pets. You have your fur babies. We talked about it last week with Brandon on Geek Tank Radio. And some of y'all got some critters like to play rough. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
If you've got an active dog, there are different breeds. Some dogs like to take a nap, like a basset hound. Other dogs, like Jack Terriers, want to play constantly. And there are a lot of animal accoutrements you can buy at the stores. And generally, I have discovered that the critter will destroy this thing in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
They jump on them, they play. They're doing what they're supposed to do with them, but they're just not built that well.
Right.
So a couple of friends of mine have, mid-sized dogs, 40, 50 pounds, active-bodied dogs. And one of them, well, actually both of them like kind of couch, kind of the couch thing, but they jump on them and they're hard on the furniture. So we built them their own doggy couch. And we built these things out of 2x6s and 2x4s with carriage bolts.
So this is not about the decorative element. This is about function.
No, they look good. I'll give you a picture, Joe.
Okay.
They look good, but it's half-inch plywood tops. It's a carriage rail around the edge to keep the cushions in place. There are no sharp edges. There are no exposed screws. There's nothing to come loose as the animal does what it's supposed to do with the furniture you built it.
Okay.
Because I've built a number of things for anything from foxes to bobcats over the years.
Yeah, we know
lot of
what kind of
stories.
weird animals you deal
And,
with. So, yep.
Sometimes you just really have to kind of get zoo mentality that I really need to overbuild this to keep it safe for my little friendly fur baby that lives with us.
Okay. All right. Well, that's admirable, Allan, because you want them to enjoy themselves. So,
But
all right.
you feel like you're drastically overbuilding it, and trust me, you're not.
No, they'll take out whatever you can put in front of them. So.
They play tough sometimes. What can I tell you?
Okay, let's tease this too, because another project you worked on was secret storage.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that when we come back. And then we're excited because we're also going to join in. Jay Hill's going to join us for our Great Moments in Building History conversation, where we talk about the ramifications, you could say, of the Apollo space project. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Gonna paint your wagon, gonna paint it fine. Gonna use oil-based paint, cause the wood is pine.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Max just loves to trigger me, so, okay. I mean, we could get into the whole thing of making a wooden wagon that's going to go outside using oil-based paint, which you know my feelings about that, Allan.
Well, that way it can get nice and moldy and look old fast.
Yeah.
Hey,
It'll
this takes
peel
place in the
and
Wild West, so they didn't know better.
These guys don't know how to paint. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio.
That's intentional.
Yeah, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, the triggering Max, who likes to push my buttons over there behind the glass, and our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. You can get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to go watch the show on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page and the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And also scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio's Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there. And, like the page and share the page and everything like that. So, hey, Jay, Allan, we're going to put a little pin in your discussion of the secret storage you made for people. Only because, Jay, it turns out, so now you've got some pressing business coming up.
Joe,
So.
don't say it like that. That's not.
It
The man
sounded
needs-
like you got to get out of here.
He's got to
because
go
there's some-
shopping, dude. Come on, man.
So yeah, how are you looking for your Christmas shopping? Is it?
We're done. We've just got to get some food items for our Christmas Day little extravaganza. A lot of people are out a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just walk into the whatever and
No, there's certain cuts of meat that you think you're going to walk in and get. You can forget it.
Okay. Well, Jay, I don't know if I think I did tease this earlier, and we haven't got to it yet. So why don't we get to this? So, Jay, we're going to circle back a little bit and talk about roofing while we got you here.
Good.
Let's just suppose I'm the average homeowner or something like that. And what do you? Okay. What are some signs that maybe your roof isn't doing as well as it could, or maybe there's some trouble on the horizon, or maybe preventative things? But I guess I'm wondering, what could the average person do if they're looking up at the roof, and what are some things you got to pay attention to? So.
Well, there's a couple of really just two obvious things that most people would notice, just being just average homeowners, if you will, because roofs are not something that you necessarily would deal with more than once or twice in your entire lifetime.
Hopefully,
really.
yeah.
Yeah, especially now since they last so much longer. But, obviously from the outside of the house, shingles or pieces of shingle in your yard, certainly a sign. But most of the time what the customer is going to see first, because so many people have their yards done by outside landscape companies, and they don't say anything. Hey, I found 9 shingles in the backyard. They just pick them up, throw them away. Yeah. But from the inside of your house, that's where you see it most of the time. And that's where you're going to find water starting to intrude the home if you're missing shingles or there's storm damage, either by stains on the ceilings, which is very common, or on the walls. And and sometimes they start out small, but boy, it doesn't take long. And with we talk about this a bunch on the show, at least we have in the past, the big mature trees that we have in this town. I tell you, it doesn't take much for just a good sized limb to fall. You picked the limb up out of the yard, but you didn't realize it actually put a puncture through the shingle. And then the next thing you know, it doesn't take but just a little pinhole to wreak havoc on your home. So from the inside of your house, be looking at your ceilings and your walls for anything unusual there in terms of staining or possible water coming in. From the outside, from the ground view level in the yard, if you're missing any shingles, or if you notice, by looking up at the roof that, hey, that doesn't quite look right. Always get it checked out and call. We do free inspections, and a lot of times can actually work with your insurance company if you've got any kind of roof damage at all, and get that replaced, by your homeowners, which is a blessing to most folks.
Oh yeah, we haven't even mentioned that, Jay. But one of the things that you helped Allan and I with this big time was the fact that you're a former insurance agent.
Yeah,
and I mean, so when it comes time to replace your roof or get it repaired, you want to know if that stuff's covered by the homeowner's insurance. And this is where these consultations, they're free consultations. It's like you're sort of an advocate for people. So.
Yeah, and really, this is just an educated guess, but I'm going to just tell you what I see. 50% of the roofs that you see being replaced, whether it be your neighbors or friends or some story you've heard, are being replaced by an insurance company. The real, I don't want to say trick, but the real deal here that you've got to know is, guys, that you've got coverage for wind and storms that directly relate to your roof. So you got to have an inspection. As long as I can show an insurance company, for instance, that you've got wind or storm damage, if it's old enough, if the roof's old enough and it's got the right kind of damage, they're going to replace that for just a deductible instead of $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50,000. Yeah. So you always want to, even when customers call me and say, Jay, hey, look, I don't know if I've got any storm damage or not. It really doesn't matter. I like to just get a new roof. We're just going to pay for it out of pocket. And I'm like, well, let me take a look. Who's your homeowners with? What if, you do have storm damage up there and, State Farm, Allstate, whoever it might be, would pay for it. And they go, well, if it's there. So you always start there, and then inevitably what happens, and probably half the time that does work out, by the way.
Yeah.
Inevitably what happens is if we're able to help somebody replace a roof via their insurance, homeowner's insurance vehicle, if you will, there were other things they wanted to do, whether it be fences or a remodeling project, windows, shutters, decks, whatever, that they can spend that money they would spend out of pocket on a roof on that stuff, and that really makes folks happy.
It's exciting, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, because I told you, when we first met you, Jay, I said the roof has been it's been every time it rains, it was stressful. It was just, I knew I was going to have to bite the bullet at some point, and you came through for us big time.
And the point to stress there is this, because this is where everyone seems to get confused, and I understand how it happens. I'm going to give you just a quickie to keep in mind. It doesn't matter how old the roof you have on your home right now is. It's irrelevant. What's relevant is, does it have storm damage that's happened in the last year?
Right.
That I can prove to an insurance company. And the way this really makes sense to a lot of people is, if you've got a 1985 Datsun B210 sedan and you have insurance on it, does it matter how old the vehicle is if you're in an accident and you have insurance? No,
right.
It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter how old it is. It just matters is, do you have anything that you're insured for? And in our business, the insurance basically boils down to two terms: sudden and accidental. And that doesn't mean it doesn't matter if it's a car. It doesn't matter if it's a roof claim, something happened to your home, a limb falling, whatever. Was it sudden and accidental? If you've got insurance, it's covered.
Yeah, and I guarantee a lot of people are out there, and they probably went through the experience I did. I would mention, I asked 50 different people about my roofing situation before I met you, Jay, and I got 50 different answers. And it's like, so once you kind of cut through and clarified for us.
I think it's important to note, too, that since I started out on my own, 7, 8 years ago now, just when I just started this on my own, where I was doing it with other people before, is that 50% of the people that were in business when I started are no longer in business today.
There you go. That's saying something. So, hey, Jay, real quick, too, you've got lenders, a lot of lenders at your disposal. Somebody may want to finance. So
we do.
What is that process? Like, have you ever timed it, how quick it is?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as soon as you go on the website, it's literally 60 to 90 seconds.
Yeah.
We have a portal of, or a plethora, cornucopia, whatever you want to call it, of lenders that basically work off of the same application, okay? And there's something for everybody. You know, most lenders do one thing better than they do others. Some like scores that are, 700 to 800. Some like 6 to 7, so on and so forth. Some people like longevity in terms of their job or how long they've been at the residence or income and things like that. You literally go to our website and you'll see up in the corner this little icon that says Enhancify Financing. And you click that, and literally within 60 to 90 seconds, you'll get approvals from anywhere from 0 to all 30 of those lenders, and you pick out which one makes the most sense to you. And there are some super deals on there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the stuff you pay attention to. You get, you finance it the right way, and it'll come through for you. So, hey, Jay, how do people get in touch with you, man?
901-484-5645 and at Big M Roofing and Remodeling.com. And again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
You too, Jay. Hey, Jay, I noticed something, and I brought it up on the air a couple weeks ago. It only just occurred to me that your business cards are waterproof. Did you do that on purpose, or was that did you know that?
Yeah, actually I did. All my business cards have new roofs on them.
Okay. Well, I just thought that was very interesting. I mean, he's all about the exterior protection of your home. Literally, it never occurred to me, but I'm like,
it's actually a card that kind of sets me apart from some other people too, because most people have a paper card, so that's going to last. So if you want to put it on your refrigerator or something like that, or someplace noticeable, it's going to last.
And you're going to probably be at some of these home shows coming up.
Got the big one coming up in February. Yeah, I tell you what, that's always a gangbuster, man. Home show is just around the corner. Right,
I'm sure we're going to be there too. So,
oh yes,
yeah, good. But Jay, you got to get out of here. It sounds like you got some more Christmas shopping to take care of.
Things to do, guys. Enjoyed it as always. God bless and have a happy New Year.
You too. Happy Merry Christmas, my friend, and we'll see you in 2024.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break and come back with our great moments in building history.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Wait, are we up? Okay. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio. Thanks for the signal, Max.
We did everything but hit you with something.
Jeez. Okay. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. You stretch your legs for a second and everything falls apart. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling was here, but he scooted out. He had business to attend to for Christmas. So, but nevertheless, you can still get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to watch the show at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page and the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And we also invite you, while you're on social media, to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there. So, well, Allan, this show is starting to get away from us a little bit. So we're going to put a pin in our discussion about your project you were working on regarding secret storage for the house, because this is an interesting one. And coincidentally, I had literally the exact same conversation with a customer of mine this week. So we're going to save it so we can unpack it properly next week. So
there's a lot there.
So in a minute, we're going to get to our great moments in building history. But if you think we forgot about our good buddy Larry Brown with Brown Refrigeration, think again. I mean, we have got to talk about him. If you've got any HVAC needs, and it's really a holistic approach. It's all about the clean. It's all about the proper humidity in your air. It's all about creating the cleanest air possible. It's even about, I would dare say, the Remy Halo system turbocharges your air, where it's not just clean, it is actually cleaning. It's almost like the superhero of air.
It's scrubbing, yes.
These are super heroic air molecules, and they land on a surface, and they don't just sit there. They clean the surface they're on.
Super heroic air molecules sounds like a Japanese cartoon.
There we go. So
it will be next week.
Yeah, but it's all part of the work that Brown Refrigeration does. They work with trained systems, which are state of the art. That's their exclusive. They like train the Remy Halo system, as we said. And also, the HVAC system requires maintenance to the degree, a lot of it is just preventative maintenance, but you need somebody that's an expert that knows, it's really it's almost like a doctor's visit. They go in there, they examine your system, and they point out the areas of concern, and then they point out, and a lot of it is it's preventative maintenance, which is great. That's what you want. You don't want to, right. You don't want to fix it after the fact. So it's a good idea to get Brown Refrigeration into your home once or twice a year. Let them look your system over. Let them do a tune-up. And also make sure that you keep your air ducts clean, because all the clean air in the world is great, but you want the ductwork to be clean that it's coming out of. So, but great people. Larry Brown has been around forever. It's a rock-solid company. And that's what you want when you're if you want to keep your HVAC system at the top of its game. So get in touch with Larry Brown. You can call him directly at 901-362-1881, or go to their very easy-to-remember website, brownref.com. All right, Max, hit it, man.
And now, great moments in building history.
All right, full disclosure, we have this little text thread that we do for our show prep. Max, you proposed something, and I'll be honest. At first, I was a little hesitant, because I'm like, now what is this? How could we connect this to home improvement? But you sold us. You sold me and Allan. Well, Allan was easier to sell, but tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Well, it's all about the Apollo project, and in particular, all the innovations that came out of the Apollo project. And we highlight in particular the Apollo project because the Apollo 8, if I'm correct, actually did a flyover of the moon around Christmas time.
Can I say something, though, real quick?
Go ahead.
I want to say something, because we don't assume anything about, when you're talking about the space program, NASA, there are so many there are so many projects and so many missions they had. We should say the Apollo project was all about when President Kennedy said we are going to get to the moon before the end of the decade. So they had a very specific mission. They had to land people on the moon before 1970 and get them back safely. And so there were several steps in this process. And so the Apollo 8 mission is one that you wanted to point out too, right, Max? Because
well, like I said, because it has a Christmas connection.
Well, let's hear it. what happened on Christmas of 1968. So,
Well, the astronauts decided to commemorate that by taking turns reading from the book of Genesis.
okay, very cool. Yeah, so they're up in space during the week of Christmas. So, okay, but let's talk about it because I guess the part I was trying to get my head around was how would we connect it? But you were pointing out all of the really all of the technology that came out of this that came into our daily life. And the interesting connection for you too, Allan, is the fact that you lived in Houston during this time, and you were there. That must have been an interesting time.
Well, it was kind of ground zero, and the barrage of products.
Yeah.
Because back in those days, you had your door-to-door salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like every time NASA came up with something new, about a month later, there was a company launching those products.
Really?
And, trying to get out there. Because, I remember water purifiers.
Oh, yeah.
Water purifiers are kind of a big thing now. You can just go down to your, local multifunction store and get a variety of brands of water cleaners, water pitchers,
right?
Strainers. They remove chemicals. They do all these things. That was a huge thing that came out of this was, of course, they had to have water filtration in the program.
I don't want to get too graphic, and I sure don't want to sidetrack the conversation, Max, but I'm curious, do they recycle water in space, or do they just kind of get the bad water out, if you know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about like still suits from Dune?
Well, I don't know. I'm just wondering because you're talking about water purification. I mean, why didn't they just load clean water on this ship?
They did. They do. However, now that we're talking about extended periods of time in space,
we
are going to be looking at how to make the most of every single resource.
Okay.
On in this contained environment.
Yeah.
So everything that your body produces isn't a waste product anymore. It's now a potential resource.
I got you.
Think like Matt Damon in The Martian.
Right.
Where
he had
everything it didn't matter if it came from you or not, it was now a resource.
Right.
And he had to make the most of every single available resource. Let's deal with some easy stuff.
Okay.
How about you wear glasses?
Yeah.
You got scratch resistance?
I hope so. Yeah, because I drop them a lot. So,
well, guess what?
Yeah.
Welcome to the space program.
Okay. Yeah.
Because let's think about it. You got a visor on you don't want your visor getting all scuffed up, dusting around the moon. Scratch resistant lenses. You're sitting in a chair. Does it got cushioning in it?
Yeah.
How about that cushioning itself? Closed cell foam and memory foams.
So memory foam goes back to the space program.
All goes back to the space program. Do you have a cell phone?
Yeah.
You got a camera?
Yeah. You're asking me a lot of...
those little bitty tiny cameras are all directly related to the space program. Solar power, dustbusters, cordless tools, baby food, freeze-dried food. How about our entire GPS system? Athletic shoes, headphones, foil blankets, medical stuff. A lot of anything with a small micro pump.
Right.
Think about for people that are on implanted pumps for pain control, insulin, and stuff like that. All of those little micro pumps were a direct result of working with moisture, liquids, and containing things in a space program.
What's interesting about this to me is the fact, part of it is like, okay, well, President Kennedy, when did he make that speech? That had to be
that
62?
was like 61 or so, yeah.
Okay, well, you think about what he was proposing. It's like we're gonna basically, we're gonna get people to the moon, which has never been done. We're gonna get them back safely because that was sort of the big thing, and we're gonna do it in 8 years. And it's like, man, you talk about you better get the people in place that have a can-do attitude. You can't have any pessimists on this. But you also can't have pie-in-the-sky people that aren't realistic. You have to have the most grounded, optimistic, hardworking, innovative, and creative people. And it occurred to me because Jay was a perfect example. If you're just tuning in, earlier in the show, Jay was talking about a situation he faced when he was on a roof that was throwing him all sorts of new challenges he hadn't dealt with before. And that's what you need. You need somebody that even they can innovate and they can think creatively and they work hard and they have the right attitude. And I mean,
Yeah, and ask me how many computers got us to the moon.
yeah. So, well,
Almost
we know
none.
that. No,
Humans did all that math.
right. Yeah, yeah. Look at all the ladies. What were those space ladies that they called them? The ones that were the mathematical geniuses.
Yes, we were recruiting people from everywhere.
Right.
And the propulsion systems of, and oddly, our space program came out of the end of World War II.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? So,
Well, Werner von Braun, rocketeering, all of that.
Oh, the V8.
Yeah.
yeah, we got all of the best German
V2.
scientists to.
Well, Project Paperclip
Yeah.
brought us to a point where our president went, well, we got the best brains in the world, whether they're from America or not. We now have all the best brains in the world.
Right.
And we can do this.
Yeah.
And every challenge came up with really bizarre and interesting ideas. Because our whole idea behind bionics is out of the space program of how to use the sun. And we haven't even talked about the number one thing out there. Think of all the changes to all of the different types of insulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep it cold, keep it hot, keep it warm, keep it non-radiated, keep it all of these things. So this constant barrage, and it wasn't solve one challenge at a time.
No.
It was honestly, we need to solve 100 challenges each week at a time as we figure out their challenges.
And as you say, a lot of this stuff it finds its way quickly into the mainstream. All this technology, and even the attitude and just the thinking of how we think about our
honestly
world.
say the core of our modern world is a direct result of that challenge.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. So that's we're going to continue talking about the Apollo mission because that one in particular, really, it seems like it's very relevant to things that we still deal with today. So we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to take a quick break and continue the conversation here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
But hear me and hear me well. The day will come. Oh, yes. Mark my word. Your day of reckoning is coming when an evil wind will blow through your little play world and wipe that smug smile off your face. And I'll be there in all my glory, watching as it all comes crumbling down.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Decaf.
A man with that kind of passion and enthusiasm can lead millions. So well done, Newman.
Merry Christmas.
And welcome. I will say that is one of my favorite rejoiners, Max. And welcome back to Tool Talk. Now that we got 30 seconds left in the show to do it, but welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us if you're quick at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to watch the show on there's two ways to do it. On the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page and the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And also, while you're on social media, scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there and like the page and share the page. Well, hey, Allan, in a minute, we're going to get back to our discussion of great moments in building history, which is sort of, I don't know, I think we're touching on really the ramifications, you could say, of the Apollo space mission and how it really affected our life and the culture and how much of that technology we just take for granted that we use every day. But before we get to that, let's hear about, speaking of technology and innovative thinking, what's going on with darkoakmedia.com this week? So,
Well, we have a new season of basically an Advent tea calendar being tested.
Okay.
It came from the international market. And what we did was we picked up one of those kind of cheapy Advent tea calendars. Try a different tea every day.
Oh, so each time you open one of the dates, there's a little thing in there with a new thing of tea.
A new kind of tea in there. So
okay, that sounds fun.
We sat down and powered our way through it, and you can see all of the, we'll just call it shenanigans and mishaps over at YouTube. They can pop up the Dark Oak Media page, or they can look up It Came from the International Market, and basically watch me feed a lot of tea to my friends.
I got a question. You talk a lot about this, and I always feel like you're disparaging the international market. I mean, people pay good money to go to the international market.
I am not disparaging it. I am celebrating it because it is so much fun. Sometimes you find some things that you will never, ever, ever try again, and you may luck up and find something that you cannot believe you made it without this product in your life. It's just a celebration of different things from around the world, and some of it is fantastic to our palate, and some of it isn't. It's just a matter of, what you like and what you like to try.
So wait, you're not on camera trying this stuff, right? You're making
on occasion.
Yeah, I noticed how that works. So,
yeah, they'll throw me out there on occasion.
All right. So how do people enjoy how do they enjoy this content?
They can just go to YouTube and look up Dark Oak Media, or It Came from the International Market.
Okay. So, okay, now that sounds good, man. I like to tease, but it is Allan does, at least he thinks outside the box. I'll give him that. Speaking of thinking outside of the box, hey Max, I'm kind of curious. We're talking about the Apollo space mission, and each week when we're considering what we want to talk about on great moments in building history, it's you always wonder where the ideas come from. What made you want to pick this? Like, what is it about this that spoke
it just came
you?
to my head.
Okay, that's it.
That's about it. And like I said before, because I had remembered the historic Genesis reading of the Apollo 8, and it's like, wait a second, let's maybe, and then the train of thought got there and everything, and then I thought about, how about it's pretty low hanging fruit to talk about all the technology that arose from the Apollo mission, because it's like, all right, where did we get Velcro? Blah 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 blah, stuff like that.
Right. Well, I guess what interests me the most is just the attitude you would have had to be a part of this team, and that's a good energy to put out in the world. I mean, and all the creativity and all the positive thinking and all that. And I mean, those are the people that change the world. I mean, those are the ones that are out there doing things and not complaining. They're just getting it done, man. So, and you lived in Houston at this time when this was going on.
Yeah,
Allan,
I did.
So,
well, I mean, think about
literally ground zero.
Well, think about the absolute audacity of trying to combine all of these new technologies and doing a live television broadcast from space in 1968.
Yeah, I mean, all of that.
We didn't have the satellites. We didn't have the uplinks. We didn't have this was as basic an analog broadcast as you could get. And yet, in 1968, we broadcast to the world from space at Christmas.
Yeah, pretty cool, man.
That's just utterly amazing.
And got them back safe. So the Apollo 8 mission that happened over the Christmas week was, the idea was they weren't landing on the moon. They were flying up, orbiting the moon, and then coming back. Well, that's no small feat. I mean,
that was massive.
It's never been done before. They were the first people to do it. So I don't know. It's interesting because, like I said, with the whole attitude that you had to have, folks, you might, when you get a job, sometimes people will get some contracting work done, and they maybe get 3 or 4 quotes. You've seen this, Allan. The can-do sort of we're going to get this done attitude goes a long way when you're considering who to pick. Like I've been on jobs where they're trying to select who's going to be the plumber, who's going to do the electrical, because I don't do that. And there's that person with that attitude, and you're like, that's what we want right there. Because you don't know what challenges are going to come up. Your attitude plays a big role.
I want you to work on my house like it's your grandmother's.
Right.
Not that you live there, because you'll put up with a lot of stuff. What kind of job do you want to do for your grandma?
Yeah.
That's the person I want working on my stuff.
Well, I also want somebody on there that's going to, for one thing, I don't want somebody who's just is a know-it-all to the degree of it's my way or the highway type thing. However, I also don't want somebody showing up that looks like, boy, if there's one curveball or if there's one surprise, they're not going to know what to do or anything. You
can't do that in this business.
You want somebody that's got some innovative thinking and all that. So I think that's a good one, Max. I think celebrating the Apollo mission this week on great moments in building, maybe just great moments in history.
There you go.
Or technology or something is a good call. So, hey, before we get out of here, we're going to shift gears, though. So one thing we haven't heard much from, I wonder if people are just out there running around doing their last minute.
Everybody's busy today. It's a nice day.
Well, this would be a good follow-up next week. We were talking about what are some hot Christmas tools to get and or home improvements. I'm thinking really more about tools, though, because that's something you get. Well, you might give a tool to somebody because you know that they work with tools,
right.
Or maybe you give something to somebody because they're a new homeowner and they need a basic set of tools or whatever. But Allan, you've been out in the field shopping with people. What are you seeing?
Well, it took me years to get you into the cordless tool category, but now there are so many amazing cordless tools.
It's amazing how big that aisle has gotten.
The aisle
it used to be in a little corner,
yeah.
and now it's like,
So based on a person, if you've got a crafter, there are all kinds of new glue guns that are now battery operated. If you've got people that are into making models, there are all kinds of little micro tools available that are all battery powered. If you got a techno geek, there are all kinds of soldering irons and other pieces of equipment that are now readily available at your big box store, all battery powered. So the portability and the lack of a cord is dramatic. And I got to tell you, one of the coolest things I saw, and I'm not sure this would make a great Christmas present, but I will definitely be getting one, is I saw a 18-volt battery-powered vacuum cleaner.
Why not? Yeah, I guess
and
I wonder
thought,
how much.
oh my gosh, not having to drag that cord all over the place because I trip over it. I start backing up. I'm walking through it. I saw that and I went, ooh.
How big is this thing?
It's the size of your average
shop vac.
No, it's not a shop vac. It's actually a stand-up vacuum cleaner,
over the house,
like one of the micro vacuums. Yeah.
Huh.
And I saw that and I went, oh, and it was like a reasonable price.
To me, that's just going to all be about how long it'll hold a charge and how much, suction power.
What kind of battery you can slap on it? Yes, sir.
All right, so obviously everything's battery powered. Yeah, old school. You didn't buy a hammer or just Yeah,
of course, the big thing is the kits.
Okay. You want to get the all.
Oh my gosh, the all-purpose kits are amazing.
All right. Well, speaking of all-purpose, you've been listening to our Christmas episode of Tool Talk Radio, but it's time to get out of here. So, on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and Jay Hill who joined us earlier, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in 2024.